From June 2nd to June 9th, many announcements in the world of gaming were revealed to the world, seen by many, and I want to talk about the stuff that I'm excited for, and one thing out of spite. I'll be going in order of when the events took place, and I'll put timestamps in the description if you just want to see the stuff from one in particular. Starting with the State of Play, which took place on June 2nd, 2026, I was immediately intrigued by Marvel's Wolverine, the latest superhero romp developed by Insomniac Games, the makers of the recent Spider-Man games and the Ratchet & Clank series. The approach to combat is far more brutal than I had first anticipated, so much so that it would make God of War blush. He stabbed a guy on a forklift, for heaven's sake. The gritty, realistic design present in Insomniac's prior work doesn't seem to do Wolverine many favors as far as his costume is concerned. You could make a case for the advanced suit and upgraded suits used by Peter and Miles, but this seems just a smidge too far, in the opinion of many viewers. As for the story, apparently the X-Men do not exist in this universe, which is rather odd in my book, seeing as we have proof of the Avengers and Fantastic Four existing there. There is still a group, they're just far smaller, coined Team X. From that description, I am somewhat reminded of Ultimate Wolverine. Hopefully they can work the concept better than Condon. No shade to Capuccia though, his art is my favorite part of that book. Marvel Tokon continues to look good, showcasing Magneto, Green Goblin, and Carnage. The only downside to Tokon is it looks great, but I am hot trash at fighting games. RuneScape Dragon Wilds looks pretty good, and is a one game in particular in which I share interest in it with my father. I know very little about RuneScape, but it looks rather fun. Rayman Legends Retold looked so good that I thought it was a new Rayman game, and it's nice to see him back in the limelight for a bit. Seeing Marathon in there just plain pissed me off.
Oh, we're killing Destiny. Please buy Marathon.
Fat chance. Now for the big one, God of War Laufey, which was a rather pleasant surprise for both me and my best friend, as both of us really enjoy the Norse God of War games. The 20 uninterrupted minutes of gameplay and cutscenes was wholly unexpected, but I must admit, I really enjoyed what I saw there. The premise is rather intriguing, especially considering the other mythologies at play. I certainly wouldn't have expected to see Egyptian stuff, but it was really cool regardless. The cast of characters, or what we've seen so far, present an interesting dynamic in my eyes. Deborah Ann Wool returning to play the role of Laufey holds a lot of promise for expansion, as our time with her was very limited in Ragnarok, only appearing in flashbacks. I would also kill for Frank. I like that cube, he's really funny. Rue seems like the weakest to me so far, but I'm willing to bet that will change as I learn more. The combat's depth would seem the same on a surface level, but that jump button changes a whole lot. The moves, at least animation-wise, seem far more fluid than Kratos' attacks, even if the basis is the same. All in all, I'm very much looking forward to this game's release. Whenever that is. Summer Game Fest on June 5th was a standard affair, with not too much piquing my interest. But what did really has my attention. First is Gen Atlas, which is a game about giant robots, with you flying a head-looking thing and jacking in to control them. If nothing else, I am pleasantly reminded of Gurren Lagann. Got a new Gundam game which looks cool. One that has my interest, more surprisingly, is Guild Wars 3. MMOs are a genre I haven't properly dove into, and this one looks like it could be fun. Virtua Fighter Crossroads has my interest for one reason only. David Hayter is writing for the game's world building. That's cool, otherwise, not my speed. RuneScape Dragon Wilds got mentioned again. Star Wars Zero Company is XCOM, but Star Wars, and I think it looks pretty darn cool. I'm always up for more Clone Wars era stuff, so this is a big win for me. Attack on Titan is getting a new game, which is pretty neat. As I recall, it's been a few years since they made the last one, so it's cool to see it come back. Final Fantasy VII Revelation, the final installment in the remake trilogy, comes out next year, just in time for the 30th anniversary of the original game. As someone who isn't the biggest fan of remake, and especially what they did in Rebirth, I truly hope the ending doesn't drop the ball. I'm not an Xbox guy, and there are far less things I care about for this bit, but what I do care about, I really care about. So let's get started. The big ones for me are Persona 4 Revival and Persona 6. Revival first. I am very impressed with the visuals of the game so far, especially the UI. The battle menu is a strict improvement over Golden's, perfectly blending the layout of 5 with the visual flair inherent to 4 and its spin-offs. The combat is flashy, everything is on point visually, and the voice cast in particular is uncannily similar to Golden, with the exception of Yosuke. I need to hear a little bit more from him before I'm sold on anything, but he sounds good so far. The idea of Theurgy makes a return, retuned and renamed to Series Finale, further emphasizing the TV theme across the game. At one point in the trailer, a 4 more appears during combat, so it seems like the 1 more system that has been standard for a while is getting a significant change by way of a new mechanic. The portraits look great, but I need them to do Naoto's frown justice. Kanji's confused face would be a bonus, and Adachi's will apparently start wars depending on the result. All in all, I'm very excited to play Revival next year, and it seems like the Reload team may have perfected their craft this time around. Persona 6 has officially been announced, which many people, myself included, have been waiting for a good while to hear about. The teaser has a much darker energy around it, seeing as its primary focus is a graveyard of sorts. The flashing visuals and loud noises were rather unsettling upon first viewing, but that was probably the intent. The logo is interesting. The way it sort of steamed when it first showed up brought a brand to mind, like those that would be used on metalwork, but the little bits on the bottom also bring to mind a wax seal that would be put on a letter in a fantasy setting. The text font is really striking, and I like it a lot. Theories have already been made about the premise of this game, but beyond what we've seen, we have nothing so far. I'm eager to see what comes next. Immediately after Persona 6, a new Spyro game was announced, which is cool to see. I grew up on Skylanders, so I have a soft spot for the guy. Minecraft Dungeons is a cute little spin-off, so it's nice to see a sequel to it. And finally, this Nintendo Direct capped off the week with a bang for me. First, smaller things. A couple games that were shown earlier in the week returned. A One Piece cooking game is coming out that looks really cute. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave has been shown again, with a map view basically 100% confirming another 5 years of Fodlan discourse. It looks very good though, I will say that. Toby Fox jump scared everyone again, with confirmation of Deltarune Chapter 5. Big Walk and Pikuniku 2 make appearances, which are niche, but I think they're cute. Now, a warning. Most of this video's remaining runtime will be discussing the announcements for the Xenoblade series, as it is my favorite game series. If you wish to skip it, there will be a time code on the screen you can skip to. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. All 3 mainline entries are getting brand new content added on. Xenoblade 1 gets voiced heart-to-hearts for the first time ever. New equipment, and a speeder bike, which opens up a whole new mode with score attack and racing against your party, and you can use it anywhere. Maybe not anywhere, but who cares? Destiny may have died today, but a part of its spirit will carry on in peak fiction. The general technical improvements are also very noteworthy, and I am happy to see them. Xenoblade 2 gets the same general improvements, as well as the ability to control blades in a new type of combat mode, which means, after almost a decade, I can play as Shulk in Xenoblade 2. I am very pleased by this. A new rare blade is also being added, and I'm very curious to see who it could be. Xenoblade 3 gets a new top-down combat mode, which reminds me of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's take on Fort Condor, a brand new hero and hero quest, and the same improvements the others got. This may be our last chance for Mithra Kid, so it's now or never. We'll see how it goes. Then Koizumi delivers the Master Stroke, a brand new Xenoblade game. We hear a monologue about the nature of this world, and the anima from which everything is derived. We see who appears to be the main protagonist, a woman with an elvish appearance, whose name has not been officially revealed in trailers. The official Xenoblade Twitter account has posted several things pertaining to the world, named Anshar, and a rough translation gives her the name Eleanor. Whether this is accurate remains to be seen. A female main protagonist is also a series first, which is really cool to see. The world is far more based in fantasy than the prior entries, which can be very easily noticed simply by looking at the overall character design shown so far in the trailer. Another notable thing that many people have noticed is a stark lack of a Nopon, which have been a series mainstay ever since Xenoblade 1's original release on the Wii. It's odd that they haven't been seen at all, although there does seem to be a new species of some sort, which I'm eager to learn about. The power set seems interesting, like only a chosen few can use powerful magic, almost akin to the Ouroboros power in Xenoblade 3. Said people are referred to as the Veselae, and they possess the power to use the anima for combat, used solely to wage war. The world has all of the bells and whistles one would expect from a Xenoblade game, and it is beautiful so far. What architecture we've been exposed to is more akin to a traditional fantasy, as with everything else the trailer has provided to us. The initial town that was shown seems really idyllic and kinda reminds me of Torgoth from Xenoblade 2. The Anima Cryststones, as they're called, are an interesting concept, but Eleanor's in particular is really interesting, because once it is slotted in, it takes on an appearance identical to the third Aegis sword from Xenoblade 2, which is making conspiracy theorists on the internet go bonkers. The story seems to start in an academy of some sort, bringing to mind Fire Emblem Three Houses, which began in a similar setting, Garrigamach Monastery, the Knights Academy in particular. A training scene later in the trailer brought to mind the training arc from Attack on Titan Season 1, where everyone is working to perfect their technique. Mounts are also introduced, although in hindsight, the updates for 1 Definitive Edition seem to be a warm-up to this idea in practice. They appear somewhat canine, but far larger than the standard, with horse-like features implemented as well. And, as is standard for Xenoblade, the soundtrack is excellent, and I am very much looking forward to hearing more of it. A sizzle reel of sorts shows off characters who I am led to assume are main party members that join up with Eleanor later. A young man with black hair, green eyes, a standard-looking sword, and some kind of dark power who seems to be at peace with killing to get the job done. A young woman with purple hair and green eyes wielding a bow, whose one line suggests that she values truth, although even that much is unknown as of yet. A mysterious character atop a dragon, whose outfit is far more different than others we've seen so far. Another elven woman with long hair with purple endings, twin swords, and seems to have a rivalry of sorts with Eleanor. She also seems capable of using her powers without a Crystone, as described in the trailer. She seems rough around the edges with a lot of room to grow. Circling back around to Eleanor, she's really hard for me to read at this point, although that will no doubt change as more information is revealed. Several other characters are shown, but we don't get much of them. An elven woman with green hair and adornments of some kind. A hologram-looking thing of a man with long hair and one heck of a cowlick. A man with medium-length black hair who just screams, "I'm the bad guy." An elven man with pink hair who could be Eleanor's brother, to whom she speaks near the trailer's end. A member of that new species I mentioned earlier. A very beefy-looking man with interesting armor and a giant hammer. The young man from before unleashing his power, and ending with who seems to be the young purple-haired woman performing a ritual as the other party members watch. I'm greatly reminded of the sending performed by Yuna in Final Fantasy X. We end with one big shot, panning up to show the unnatural nature of the world as it curves upward along with the ocean, as the narrator tells of the 6 suns and the unresolved vengeance of a fallen god, as the title drops. Xenoblade Genesis. Genesis alluding to a new beginning, which it absolutely is for the series as a whole. For one, they dropped the Chronicles that has been standard over here in the West, which makes enough sense to do, seeing as many people, myself included, just say Xenoblade blank when referring to the games. It also marks our departure from the Klaus saga, stewarding us into a new world. And the logo is beautiful, at least to me. The bottom parts of the main title seem akin to a kaleidoscope, and this carries over into the subtitle, which uses a new font in all caps, further differentiating itself from its predecessors. Take, for instance, Future Redeemed. The difference is obvious at a glance. Also of note are the purple shimmers on certain parts of the letters. The prior entries always had those little touches be of some importance to the game's main story, at least in some way. One simply has a splatter effect, perhaps meant to represent the blood shed by the battles between the Bionis and Mechonis and the life on them. Two had flames as an obvious reference to Pyra, and perhaps the world burning alluded to multiple times when referencing the events from 500 years past. And three had the motes given off when someone dies and is sent off, or reaches their homecoming. X just had a future looking one because it's way heavier on the sci-fi. This one in particular could be a reference to the anima, seeing as it is of great importance to the people of Anshar. But either way, I just think it looks really pretty. And lastly, the release window of 2027. I'm so excited for this. Now, unfortunately for me, the Xenoblade rambling session is over. Back to boring stuff.
This is a joke.
Final Fantasy Resonance looks pretty darn good, and it uses the same style of combat as the Octopath games, which I like a lot. Metaphor ReFantasio on Switch was way overdue, but I'm glad to see it here regardless. Splatoon Raiders looks good. I'm frankly shocked that they managed to fit Space Marine 2 on this thing. And Kingdom Hearts 1 to 3 are all getting upgraded from cloud versions to proper versions. Glad to see it, honestly. And then they pulled the rug out from under everyone and showed Kingdom Hearts 4. I may not be a fan of Kingdom Hearts, but I know just how crazy it is to see new footage of this game. On a different note, what did they do to Sora's face? He just looks like a Final Fantasy character now. And the final announcement. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, remade for the modern day. From what little it showed, they seem to be implementing voice acting into this reimagining. It looks good though, and I'm interested to see what they'll do with it. And with that, those are all of the things that piqued my interest in gaming this past week. And marathon. Thank you for watching. Leave a like or a comment. Consider subscribing so that I can keep doing this. And have a good rest of your day. I'm never gonna shut up a bit, Xenoblade.